Yeah, thank you for joining me today. And today I am going to share with you like 3 news. Okay, so let's take a look. The first one is called, it's on AR Post, arpost.co. And the title is How AR and AI Will Transform Customer Service Using the Power of Vision. Yesterday, I think Alan mentioned about TeamViewer, right? TeamViewer is using AR to do the customer service or IT for people to communicate through AR, right? And now there's a news or an article on AR Post. This article is written by Amir Yoffe. Yeah, so what he talks about in this article is that in the future, because before we all know that customer service was mainly driven by voice, right? When we want some customer service, we usually call. There's a number we usually call. So as for the call center service, or like people work for call centers, they have to explain, and usually, without visual, they have to explain verbally. And I had an experience about, one day my Wi-Fi was down. I have to call to, Spectrum and fix my Wi-Fi, the router, and they want me to read the the model number, and the model number is like numbers alphabet with normal numbers. So I have to say A as an apple, 01, E as an elephant. So and it was like totally a mess. And I think I read it was probably around 20 numbers or 20 characters, and I had to repeat all those worse, and the call center lady couldn't understand what I was talking about. And at the end, it was just a mess. It was really annoying experience. And with this AR and AI transformation for customer service, it will definitely help customers. For example, like, your router, something wrong with your Wi-Fi router, and you need to, um, you know, ask for activation for your routers, right? For something. And then in this article, it talks about 3 stages for the transformation. The first one is live visual assistance. In the future, for example, like if that is the case, all I need to do is to, I have a video call with the call center lady, and I will aim my phone to the router number and maybe take a photo or, take a video, right? And then this is called visual assistance, right? So at least I can find the product. And the second is visual automation. Visual automation is that, for example, if I take a photo, and AI will automatically read the router number, right? Without me trying to say something, right? And then, so it's very convenient. Visual automation reduce employee efforts, drives faster resolution, enhance customer service. So pretty much, for example, a customer who calls a troubleshoot, a non-working coffee machine can be instructed to capture images or video of the product. So the system automatically recognizes the model, detects the error, and supplies the agents with the next step to fix it. So it's kind of like the automation for the AI part. Another one is visual guidance. Yeah, so for example, like before I couldn't find where's the button to, to reset my router or something. And then they have to, the call center lady has to explain where it is. But right now, if I just end my router and, I can see the feedback from my video calls, they can pretty much circle it. So there are 3 steps according to the article. Stage 1 is live visual assistance. Second one is visual automation, which means that if I scan the model and then AI on the other hand, other side, the AI will recognize the model and the routing number or something, I don't know, like the model, the machine model, something. Yeah, so it will kind of like helping to recognize what the machine model number is, and visual guidance, which is also, you see, like from the team viewer, people can, or call center, people work for call center or customer service, they can pretty much circle or telling you how to fix it through, for example, like a pen or, some labels, some text on the videos. So this will be really, really good. So pretty much AR and AI will transfer customer service using the power of vision. So before it will be audio, right? Pretty much we talk, use phone call, but in the future it will be video based and with vision. So what do you think about the news? Any feedback, Ellen?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I absolutely love this concept because I've actually worked in tech support in the past, where I was at a help desk and I was trying to help people with certain computer network issues, and a lot of times, like it's just, no matter how technical both sides are, you're trying to explain what it is you're looking at dealing with on either side. So the less confusion that you can have there, the better the experience is. And obviously being able to hold your phone up to the actual object and being able to interact with it kind of, virtually through that video experience makes it a lot easier to understand when I can point stuff out or circle something. It's just, I think it's just a much better experience. And then when you take the AI side of things, so some of the work I'm doing currently with AR and AI is computer vision. So the ability to have the video that interpret what it sees and help you make decisions, on what the process is. It's just pretty amazing. There's some pretty useful stuff out there. But I'd take this a little bit further. I'd say even beyond support and kind of helping people do things support wise, I'd look at it in like the retail environment. So for example, if I walked into a retail store and there was a product that I needed to know more information about, I'm kind of relying on the salesperson to explain things to me. But if there's no salesperson there, it would be great to be able to connect directly with the company through a video interface where I can then ask them more questions about the product or get more information about it through AR as well. So I do see the future. This will be very common in the future, especially when we're maybe wearing the glasses and it's easier to kind of interact with stuff just through a display, a heads-up display. But yeah, anything that makes the experience easier, more comfortable, will help people feel better about buying products or interacting with products. So it's great stuff.
Cool. Thank you, Ellen. And yes, for sure. And I think this will really be really helpful for, when you need to explain the model number, right? Or your phone number, or, a lot of, some security stuff, or, yeah. So just by scanning the model, or, just by taking a photo of a current model, and you can, skip all the annoying, like the model number or all the stuff through the calling through the phone. I think this will definitely helps us to, upgrade our customer service, or even, just like Ellen said, retail, right? So yeah, so sometimes when we want to buy something, and for me, I usually, if I really want to buy something and something is really expensive, I usually Google it right in front of in the store and see what what's the facts. Because I mean, sometimes we feel like it's a little uncomfortable to have a salesperson kind of trying to sell to you. So I usually just stand in front of the product and do my research and trying to figure out which one I like. So yeah, but in the future, I think this will definitely um, help us to learn a lot about the product or do a lot of stuff and get a better experience to all the supports from AR and AI. Okay, so next news is from theverge.com. The title is Upgrades to the US Army's night vision technology make darkness into a video game. So this article was written by Nicole Westman. So yeah, so if you are interested, you can take a look up this news. And yeah, so pretty much if you can see the screen, um, um, U.S. Army just having types of AR glass that can turn, you know, during the night, it will turn all the soldier into outline, right? It's it's very interesting, and when you see the photo, it's very artsy, right? It's like people have a glowing light surrounding around them, so it will turn everyone into a piece of art, like the whole scenery looks like a piece of art. But if you take out the glass, it will be totally dark, right? But when you wear a glass, you can see humans outline and whatever gestures or behaviors you can see clearly through that AR glass. And that AR glass is called night vision. Yeah, so pretty much this night vision technology will help U.S. Army or soldiers to see clearly during the night, or there, even though there's no light out there, it will look like um, like fluorescent, right? Like substance. It looks really, really neon like, and it will really help the vision, um, the soldier looking during the night. Okay, so any thoughts on this technology, Ellen? Any thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to the previous conversation with just being able to make the real world scenario a little bit easier to understand. So that's something, especially in the military environment. We do a lot of military work with the company I work for. And some of the biggest problems, whether you're in the battlefield as a soldier or a maintenance worker, some of the biggest problems just understanding, your environment in kind of a stressful situation, of course, if you're at war, or whatever they're doing. So yeah, so being able to have an understanding of the environment quicker, faster, easier is super important. So obviously using night vision technology, I assume you're using AI as well potentially here. Um, and AR, but it just gives you quicker information, the ability to make decisions better, faster, obviously. And yeah, I mean, a lot of this technology is starting to converge to offer these types of things. So one of the projects we're working on currently is for maintenance workers to be able to detect like rust or different types of corrosion on vehicles and aircraft and whatnot through the use of AR glasses. And again, it's something they could do normally, but this helps them kind of identify places where these types of things pop up more often, and just making the jobs faster and more efficient using the newer technology. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Alan, for your feedback. And yeah, I think this will be really, really helpful for military to learn more about the environment and also understanding, the environment so they can make a better decisions. Okay, the third news is from Yahoo Finance. Yeah, if you go to finance.yahoo.com, you can see the news, and the title is called Create Virtual Reality Eye Tracking Experiments with SightLab VR Software. So, yeah, so this is a very interesting, kind of like a little short article about SightLab VR software. And pretty much SightLab VR software allows you to build a VR scene using your own 3D models or 360 videos. Run your experiment and review eye tracking data in minutes with a simple to use interface. Okay, so pretty much this software or SightLab VR is a little bit similar to before I used kind of like a software for user testing event for a website. Yeah, so pretty much in this let's see for SightLab, what they are doing is that if you go to their website, it's called worldvs.com. If you go to their official website, you can see like pretty much you can build a scene, right? And then you let users to kind of browsing around. And later on, you will, because they have a really good eye tracking track, like according to an article, it seems like they track the uh, pupil, right? The distance of the pupil and the locations and the time. So it can accurately see like where does the user look at, how long does that look, right? So before, when we do user testing on the on website, pretty much you can kind of there's a software, I forgot the name, but uh, the software can track the user's mouse, right? Because sometimes where your mouse go is usually where your eye go, right? So yeah, it tracks the mouse. And so, for example, people usually look at where, and then this data can really help the marketer or the business to improve their design and increase their sales. Right now, instead of 2D or website, it turns into a 3D place. So pretty much it can detect where the user looks. So, like you can see a heat map, right? But it's more like eye tracking. So for example, if the user stare at at some places in the gallery, and you can see which paintings that the users first see or second see, right? So those data will be tracked by the eyes instead of the mouse on the website. So I think this is a very interesting software that can really help the brand or the software, the brand branding or marketing to help the business to, I would say, to improve their user experience and increase their sales. So yeah, and they even do a multi-user, the scene. So it seems like they integrate a lot of data and analytics through the eye tracking. So it can really improve the user experience in virtual reality. So any thoughts for this or feedback, Ellen?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for a marketing application, it's always great to know how people are interacting with your website. So yeah, of course you can track clicks, within a website or an interface, but typically you don't always know where people are looking. So with heat maps and that technology, it's great to kind of know where people are typically gazing. Um, and in addition to that, the HoloLens has a toolkit called Mixed Reality Toolkit. And within that, there's actually a gaze detection module. So it allows you to actually use the pupil. So wherever you're looking within your environment, that's kind of where the cursor could be, or where you can interact with something. So with that, they give you the ability to actually put in some mesh interfaces that you can draw on with that. So basically what it does is it creates a heat map of your environment. So wherever you're looking within the HoloLens, you can create a heat map and keep track of the common areas that people are looking at. So that's actually built into the HoloLens Mixed Reality Toolkit as a feature as well. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely great to know. We're going to be utilizing that on some projects where we're testing the maintenance workers on where they're supposed to be looking and how long they're in certain areas of the project. So yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, I think, do you use Unity or Unreal? Unity?
Yeah, we typically use Unity for just about everything that we build with. And right now, about 90% of our projects are HoloLens based, and going to be doing some more VR stuff with the Quest in the near future here. But yeah, Unity is typically the base.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if Unity is doing the heat map with the eye tracking, then yeah, because this company is focusing on virtual reality. That I don't know. If that is part of the plugin, then and Unity is kind of like the majority people use Unity. So I don't know. They probably need to.
I think it's a mixed reality toolkit. It's what we're using. It's kind of we're using a combination of the gaze detection and just being able to draw on a mesh to be able to just identify those areas.
Yeah.
But I believe you can do that in VR as well with the mixed reality toolkits.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting.
So mixed reality toolkit, because right now I'm using XR toolkit. So it's another toolkit. It's not part of XR toolkit.
Yeah, it's Microsoft's kit that allows you, interaction with the HoloLens, but you can use it in other areas as well.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean, I find out that, I remember I started learning VR, I think started last year, and I set up everything on my Unity because I need to go back to learn coding, right? So I set up this January and I thought, yeah, everything is wonderful. And after, I think, this week I start to want to use my setup because I've been learning a lot of coding and I am ready to code some VR stuff, and I have to relearn everything. Yeah.
Well, there's plenty out there to learn for sure. It's tough because even when you're in the coding world, keeping up to date on everything, things change pretty quickly. There's all these different areas to get into, so it's hard to keep up with it sometimes. I mean, Unity is always upgrading what they do. The plugins are always updating the other technologies. Just trying to keep track of everything is tough sometimes. And I recently started getting back into Web XR.
Oh, airframe using.
Yeah, because we want to kind of just see where the world is or how valid that is to use across the web browsers. So I know I just saw recently a sample of I believe they're using Firefox Reality browser
Mozilla
within HoloLens to run that application directly through the browser. So I just trying to see how robust that is and where it makes sense to utilize within a project. But yeah, that's interesting work as well.
Yeah. I think eventually, I don't know, like right now I'm learning VR stuff and I find out that, I have to learn a lot of stuff. And recently I started reading about computer human interaction. Yeah, I because my background is UX UI, so I want to learn the next step of UX UI, which is CHI or something, right? So yeah, and I find out that it's interesting that before our thoughts about a talent is T-pose, right? It's like someone who is really good in one area, and then on top is like more variety on the top, but the person has one strength, and in the future it will become from T talent to pi talent. Pi has two legs, right? So it means like two strength, and then on top, right, it's the the different fields, but that person needs to have two experts. So what do you think of these types of like future trend that maybe we need to learn design and development at the same time?
Well, it's funny because when I go way back in my career as a graphic designer,
you are a graphic designer. I thought you are a developer.
A long time ago. But it's funny because back then you only had to know like 3 applications: Photoshop, maybe Quark, or InDesign,
yes,
and Illustrator possibly.
Yeah.
to do just about everything you needed to do. You were fine with those three applications. But today,
Yeah.
becoming a software developer, you kind of feel like you could specialize in certain areas, but I still feel like you have to really kind of understand and be fairly good at a lot of different,
Mm.
applications. I mean, software standards, like there's just a bunch of things to keep track of. So, so yeah, it's tougher these days. Even if you got into 3D,
Mm.
it's tough because even in 3D, there's whole, different areas of 3D. There's the
Mm.
modeling, animation, texturing, creating the environments and whatnot. So there's all these different areas that you could specialize in, but it's you still have to kind of know, a lot of it as well. So I feel like it's when we come across like new hires,
Mm.
it's less likely you're going to come across somebody who just really good at one thing, and more
Mm.
likely that they know a bunch of different topics as well. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how that that turns out.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah. And I really think it's very interesting to see, like, I remember when I read or watched some Netflix shows. And then it seems like back in war time, like Second War or the First War, I forgot. But it seems like if a girl knows how to type, like do the typewriters, right? And she can get a job and raise the whole family. But look at right now, you see, like, when a graphic designer, you like typing is kind of everyone knows it, right? And then before, for graphic designer, you only need to know Photoshop, Illustrator, and maybe InDesign, right? But graphic designer right now, it's kind of like a little bit hard to find a job or something. You need to learn UX UI. But once you learn UX UI, what's the next, right?
you know,
Next, yeah.
well, I was going to say it's interesting because the stuff we're talking about currently, in a way, kind of solves some of these problems, and that is by using AR, like especially if we have the glasses.
Hmm.
There's a term called instant expert, and so
Oh,
basically what it
yes.
means is that
Yes.
I could theoretically know nothing about the subject. I could put on AR glasses, go in front of it, and have the technology show me how to do a procedure.
Mm.
So 30 years of knowledge could be kind of transplanted right into
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
experience and say, hey, yeah, you do this, you move this up, you turn that this way, and then you're finished. And I didn't have to learn that. That was just shown to me. So I think as technology rolls along, these types of applications will
Yeah.
give people the knowledge that they didn't necessarily have to know in the first place. You can
Yeah.
take somebody with very little knowledge of a subject and turn them into an expert just by using these types of technology.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, even as a developer, there's quite a few things I run across that I have no clue like how to solve that problem. So I end up doing research, and of
Mm.
course, I go to Google,
Mm.
all these different locations that give me the answer. And
Mm.
the key is the faster I can get the information, the faster I can finish the project.
Yeah.
And that's just basically what's happening there. So yeah, it's definitely the future is going to be pretty interesting here soon.
Yeah, right. Totally. I think, yeah. So right now I'm still thinking about, yeah, like before, you learn one skills, you graduate from your college and you got a job for 20 years and you retire, right? But right now it seems like, yeah, last year I got a lot of students who kind of, got fired, and then from different areas, and they all jump into UX UI. Why? Because UX UI seems, like every company needs to do, needs a website because of lockdown, right? And then needs an app. So it seems like UX UI didn't really get affected. So yeah, and some designers even get more projects or jobs. So everyone jumped into UX UI. So a lot of students ask me about the, like the job position. I told them that, okay, so junior UX UI is a battlefield. Since everyone just jump in, so it's really competitive. But if you go on top, like director position, it's not that hard. But this junior is extremely competitive. So they were asking me like, how can they become different? And I told them that maybe learn some XR, learn some, learn some AR, VR, and later on you can transform yourself into a more different designer. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just still thinking about what's the
Well,
next or
that's
yeah.
I guess that's the big question is where AI starts to take over certain jobs, and then
Hmm.
I guess the big thing to think about is it'll probably take over everything eventually, but which things will be last on the list to be taken over? So
Hmm.
I believe creativity,
Hmm.
is probably the last thing that AI is going to
Oh.
affect
Hmm.
because it's just so unique, right?
Yeah,
But
creativities.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because today there's many samples out there of AI actually creating code. So coders who are using
AI creating code.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There's to basically tell it what you want it to do, and it builds it for you. There's AI creating music, doing all kinds of different things.
What should we have a human, right? Like what can human do differently from AI? And AI
Exactly.
is so
Yeah.
smart.
So yeah, I mean that's my point. And I have an 11-year-old son. I'm constantly thinking, what are you going to do in the future? Like he has
Yeah.
different topics he's interested in, but I'm like, is that there's going to be self-driving trucks, self-driving cars,
Yeah, right.
all these different things that currently are being done today. Like for example,
Hmm.
even being a doctor,
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of these technologies, AI technologies, they're being used as kind of a resource to
Yeah,
reverse
analyze.
things. But I
Yeah.
can imagine a day when you just go in, they scan your body, and the computer just says, "Here, here's what's
Yeah.
wrong with you."
Yeah, then I don't know. Yeah, I still don't know what I can do. And I'm glad that like I'm not so young. So, like my future is uncertain. It seems like I am past my middle age. Yeah, and I still feel like, oh, something I still can handle. But I don't know about the next generation, the kid, what's their future? Maybe they will, work with their robot co-workers, right? And all the roles will be different from
I think,
now.
yeah, we definitely have a little ways to go, but yeah, I mean, eventually that stuff just happens. It makes sense that it would.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it does make it kind of make you think about what the future might be. Like for example, when I was a kid,
Hmm.
I won't give my age away, but when I was a kid, there was really not such a thing as computer special effects, which I
Mhm.
love, like doing different
Yeah.
types of movie effects with computer.
Hmm.
That didn't exist when I was a kid, so it was hard for me to think about like, well, I want to do that when I grow up.
Hmm.
But it evolved over time,
Hmm.
and so this is the same thing. I think a lot of these things will get eliminated, and maybe there's just different opportunities that we're not aware of right now, possibly. But
Mm.
yeah, it's a whole another topic, right?
Yeah, right, right. Because, I was trying to, because I read a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. So I always tell myself that I have to do a little, like, even though it's one track, but I still need to do something a little bit different so I can, be different from other product or, other stuff. I want to have something that is a little different, even though the track is the same. So yeah, still thinking about how can I do something, but because AI can do so much, so powerful. AI can even compose music or do some paintings, right? So it's very interesting to see what our generation look like. Or maybe just like Elon Musk say that they have to put some chips inside the brain or something, right? So they can be, not only have the human emotion, but their brain or their thoughts or their memory can compete with the computer, so they can still make the AI under control.
Yeah, yeah. Who
Yeah.
knows? It's interesting to watch. But the thing is that it's just funny if you're really paying attention to technology.
Mm.
This stuff is happening. It happens slowly but
Mm.
quickly. So
Yeah.
just over time, like you start to see this stuff become more and more, used in everyday life,
Yeah.
and with before you know it, all of a sudden it's just regular stuff that we do. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, right now I'm learning CHI, and I read a book that my developer teacher told me to read. It's, like at the beginning, it was more like, oh, the everything begins with computer invention and the mouse. Because once you invent a computer, you need a cursor, right? So mouse is the most important thing invented among the history. It's kind of the starting point of the computer human interaction history. Is the mouse invention. And then right now you see computer just invented, I would say like 40 years ago, right? Or somewhere there. And then mouse just invented probably 10 or 20 years later of the computer invention. And later on, you see phone invented, I would say probably like when I was in college, right? So you see like, it's like, I would say 10, 15 years, and you see phone becomes dominant. Yeah.
Yeah, because even AI, I mean, it's been around for a while, but the way that we know it, it's not been that many years that that this stuff has all kind of happened. So yeah, it'll happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to AR, VR, and yeah, AI combined together and IoT. Yeah, those stuff will definitely make our life different and more convenient. Yeah,
Okay.
cool. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Ellen, for joining me today. And then yeah, thank you everyone. And then I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye.